On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Heath Oakes is a millennial mogul whose ignorance on fire led him to fail his way to success. Jenny Anchondo is an Emmy Award-winning journalist whose sharp eye and biting wit have led to her storied career in television. Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only an odd couple with a dash of perfect opposite can. So kick back, relax, and join the conversation. This is Second Shot with your hosts, Heath and Jenny.
So for anybody else that lives in Dallas, Texas, you can probably agree 100% with me that our weather is drunk all the time lately. Like, you straight up have to wake up in the morning like, oh, and you go put sweats on. By lunchtime, you got like shorts on, and by 5 o'clock, you're covering up from the hailstorm that's like killing your house and cars. And we got Jenny, Zach, and Matt, and then I'm going to let Jenny introduce our guest as well.
That's right. Hey, everybody. So we have the Dapper Diplomat, also known as Julian Leaver, here today. So I am so excited because, you guys, I've interviewed Julian on several different platforms in several different ways, but we've never had the time to really dive deep into his content. So welcome, Julian.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell us a little, give us like the quick synopsis of who you are and what you do for those of you who are not familiar.
Yeah, so the Dapper Diplomat is basically my vehicle to communicate to young people, old people, anybody really looking to up their personal brand and take their brand to the next level. And we kind of talk about a variety of different things: communication, networking, travel, grooming and attire, and then, of course, personal brand.
Well, and so here's the thing that I really love about Julian, and I think that's why we connected initially. You guys, he's very updated and modern, but his values to me seem very old school. Ooh. Which I think is what attracted me to him. Like, okay, good, I can get this, I can get on board with this. And so we've done interviews in the past about etiquette, about the royal family, about the way the royals do things, about having a tea party.
That
and
outfit
also,
on that episode was on point.
Well, thank you. It's all about the top hat.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All about the top.
So that was on Morning Dose. I've interviewed him on Fox 4 before. But so it's a lot of it, and he also does work, you guys, with students. Like if they are trying to get into these prestigious schools and they've got these big interviews coming up, he does a lot of that, and then also education for professionals. So we just thought he was the perfect person to bring on to kind of help enhance our audience's experience and teach us a thing or two.
And what we're going to do, we're going to get to know Julian a lot more in the third segment. Just the third segment's being dedicated strictly to just, why is he somebody that is worth giving his expertise on this, right? So you can get to know who he is and where he comes from. And what we're going to do on this episode, though, is the first and second segment. If you go look up Dapper Diplomat, he actually, has a blog and puts out posts and things, and they go all over the place. And so we actually took 2 of his, and we're going to do both of them on the second shot and go over those today, which we thought would be really fun because Jenny's always reading them and sending them to me as well, and we are. So we'll turn over to Zach, get the first one going, and then let you talk about it. Let's talk about some of these things that you got putting out there.
Absolutely.
We have had Julian's articles on the show before. We've actually a couple times talked about your...
Which is such an honor. Thank you guys so much.
Hey.
I really appreciate that people are using my content. It's amazing.
We don't just pick articles off the internet, all right? These things are hand chosen.
You research these things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never had to read a headline for an article with the writer of the article sitting here, so no pressure. It's fine. Not going to freak out about it. 6 things to do today to up your reputation. The question is, how can you improve your personal brand today? There's a lot of talk surrounding personal brand, and while some of it centers on your actions, the majority centers on the outward symbols of status you convey. Who are you wearing? What are you doing? Where are you going? We believe in the basics and bring the personal brand back to its actual center, the person. But when people are talking about you, what do you want them to say? And there are 6 points here. I'm not sure the best way to go about this. Do we
Just
start
read the
reading
points?
Yeah,
Read
read
the
the points and then we can discuss.
And then we'll break them down. All right. Well, number 1, actions match words. Number 2, follow through true on promises. Number 3, watch your temper. Number 4, please and thank you. Number 5, practice empathy. And number 6, go out of your way. And I'm so anxious to dig into this. Julian, Heath, shoot. I don't know. Who do we go first?
So I want to hear about this first one, actions match words. Go in a little bit deeper in terms of what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, to jump into like bringing the personal brand back to being personal again, right? We are surrounded by social media, right? We were talking about it even before we started. And just, we're bombarded with all of this information about where people are and what they're eating and who they're wearing and what they're doing. But we don't ever think about our personal brand being our actions. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because this is just like what you were saying attracted me to you. That is the personal brand, right? It's not what I'm wearing. It's not that sometimes I have a bow tie on or a top hat, right?
It's when you're at the grocery store, and do you say thank you? And if somebody's being bad, like if say the person's being slow, or you get mad at them, or do you have empathy?
Exactly,
and
right?
people see that,
and it's about saying thank you, right? And it's just about talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
I think this is so key because you're right. Social media right now is so big on like, oh, are you the light and airy Instagram feed?
Yes.
Are you the black and white Instagram feed?
Ooh. Exactly.
You know, are you like the bold print crazy? Are you the like crazy mom always showing their kids being bad feed? But that's, I really, really like that point. So so basically hone in on being your actual self.
Your actual self. But I also think like at the end of this little section, I was also talking about owning it when you make a mistake, right? And I think that kind of was my initial thrust here, was having your actions match your words. And if, especially in a professional setting, we make promises all the time, right? Oh, I'm going to get this to you by this time. I'm going to do this by this time. I'm going to
which is my biggest pet peeve, by the way.
Right?
My
Making
biggest
promises
pet peeve.
like that.
Look, here's the thing. Tell me I'm not going to get it for 7 days and let me be mad right now that it's going to take 7 days and get it to me on the 6th, and I'm going to be happy as I'll get up. But you tell me in 4 days and it's there on the 5th.
I'm not happy.
I'm not happy.
No, I agree. And so it's all about kind of under-promising and over-delivering.
I agree.
Oh.
And that's this old school that you talk about with him, right? This
That's
is that
why I like
modern,
Julian. I'm also 1,000 years old,
Exactly,
Julian.
so it's okay.
Yeah, this is that modern with the old school, because this is some old school principles, and going, look, social media is not at all, because it still does matter the way you treat the person at the grocery store.
It does.
It still 100% matters. Whenever Brett Favre was inducted into the Green Bay Hall of Fame, it was one of the interesting things was that it was one of the first times that the janitors and all of that were asked to be there, and they spoke because that how much they loved him, because Brett Favre every day knew every one of the janitors' names, knew every one of the all of the people at the stadium's name. He would literally spend time on the field with the stadium workers and stuff, and that's part of the reason why so many people fell in love with him, right, and had a passion, because he actually knew all of the people named that none of the other people took advantage of knowing.
Exactly, and he could keep himself humble.
Yes.
And I like that you said took the advantage of knowing, because it's not like, oh, wow, look how nice he is. He is talking to a custodian.
Yeah.
No, took the advantage of having that relationship. I like the way you phrased that.
I love that.
So that kind of covers the follow-through on promises. Watch your temper.
Ooh, right? Tempers. I think the thing here for me is really about the art of the pause. Okay? I use the art of the pause all the time. And it really is just about stopping before you speak.
It's really that simple.
It really is. And honestly, it's really kind of what I also call active listening, right? Which, wait for it, is just listening.
I love it.
All right.
So you're saying we need to listen.
Saying we just need to listen. And if we don't listen and we just jump to conclusions and we're just moving so fast through a conversation, you're going to lose your temper, because you're not listening to them and they're not listening to you.
So there's a total lack of understanding.
Exactly.
Do you think there's a problem in today's world with people thinking with in asking questions they really don't care about to kind of do the whole like listening thing.
Absolutely.
And it's like that's worse.
It is way
like
worse.
if you don't care about it, just
don't ask.
Don't engage with it because it's very clear. It comes off when you're asking questions you don't care about because you are supposed to.
Yes. Just be silent.
Yes.
You know? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being silent. Right?
Yes.
Like, I feel like all of our grandmothers said, just don't say anything if you don't have anything nice to say. This is basics, right? It's bringing it back to the basics, but we don't talk about this anymore, right? And the problem is kind of, we were talking before about, like, this millennial generation, I think, gets a bad rap for all of these behaviors that they don't do, but no one actually taught them how to do them.
Yeah.
So it's not their fault.
I always say the parents are the ones complaining about it. You're the ones who raised them.
You're the one who put them in the back of a car,
Yeah.
right? To go from event to event to event to event to event, and you skipped dinner. And so now these kids, the only way they know how to communicate is when the television is not working, they want to throw a fit. Or when they don't have the food that they want, they know how to throw a fit. They don't know how to have a back and forth conversation.
That I really hope that starts to become a trend, that people start to come back to family dinner and come back to, you know, because our daughter's not even 2 years old, but I know the way it is with my girlfriends who, you know, who have older kids. The activities go until 6, 7, 8 at night. There is no more respect for the family culture and the family structure, and so you're really up against being the one parent who says, no, you know what? We have dinner at home every night during the week. And I hope that by the time Brighton's older, that what you just mentioned, that trend starts to flourish and that people come back to that structure that we grew up with and that I very much appreciate.
And I think you have to be intentional about that. Right? Like
Yeah, it's
sometimes
hard.
No, you have to. You absolutely have to.
And if you're the only one that's out there doing it, maybe somebody else will be like, oh, like they seem really happy. Like, guess what? They have dinner every single day together as a family.
Yep.
And they're teaching the lessons that need to be taught about all of
At
these
that
things
table.
at the table.
Yeah.
It's the only place to learn them.
Otherwise, they're, you know, 17 years old and you're thinking, we have no manners.
Big trouble.
What about you? Okay, so Zach
what
and
would
Matt.
be your? What would be? Well, because we're getting right
We're
there.
coming up
What,
on it. Yeah.
what
No, it's
would
all
be
right.
your out of all of the one more topic on here that you would think out of the points is the most important on that 6?
Yeah, I think it's practice empathy, actually. And practicing empathy is really just about connecting your head and your heart. Okay? Like, just imagine that there's a line between the two of them, right? And I think sometimes we're so in our head that we just completely shut off the heart piece, right? Or vice versa, okay? Because when
We're
you're
all heart. You're right.
all heart.
Yeah.
You're all heart, but you're not making any logical decisions. I
That's
think
true.
every human is equipped to make logical and emotional decisions simultaneously while processing through that whole thing. And by practicing that, it's going to make you a better person.
And that's stopping and pausing. That kind of like
It
the
is.
other is just kind of pausing and realizing what state you're in.
Yeah.
Are you in your head or are you in your heart at the moment?
Exactly.
And where do
then
you need to
reacting
be?
appropriately,
Yeah.
right? Because maybe you're fired up about something and you're about to lose your temper. But if you pause, you aren't going to have to apologize.
Right.
Right? Like, you're not going to have a resentment. You're not going to carry this thing around and it's going to ruin the rest of your day.
And this is something that can be learned, correct?
It can. All of this can be
someone's
learned.
Not naturally. Some people are naturally really have the ability to have empathy and to see somebody's side, and some people really struggle with that.
They do.
But it sounds like the pause would be the first step,
It
at
is.
least.
Yeah. Just pause.
Well, I like that. This was a good first segment to get into. We've got an 8 things coming up next. It's going to be some pretty interesting stuff. And like I said, you can go look up the Dapper Diplomat and get more on it as well. But we'll be back in a minute for the second segment of Second Shot.
He makes up words, she translates them. Heath and Jenny host more of Second Shot, coming up on RNCN.
To all of my friends in the great state of Texas, if you have not taken advantage, I have a way to save you a ton of money. I have saved over about $3,000 in the last year, and I have no hassle. Go to energyogre.com, put in the promo code SECONDSHOT. Now listen, promo code SECONDSHOT, and you're going to get a free month just for signing up and saving a ton of money. So don't be crazy. Stop sitting around talking about, is this the real deal, and go do it right now. energyogre.com. heath.com, promo code second shot and a free month. Thanks. Go get it now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
Though Dapper Diplomat was getting a good laugh over the he makes up words and she translates them.
I love it.
It's just that the producers of this show know us so well.
Love it.
Amazing.
You got the guy who's really bad at grammar marries the journalist. It
It's
makes
so
no sense.
perfect.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
a beauty, you know, like
Absolutely.
the strengths and the weaknesses
Yes.
combined.
Yes,
Boom.
exactly.
We live in a complicated world. Everybody has a person. All right. Yeah, it all
Yeah,
works out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So the next headline for this segment, another Dapper Diplomat article. I
Dappler.
almost had it.
We
Now I'm
liked your
making up
name
words.
until it became a tongue twister.
So it became a Dappler
Say it 8
Diplomat.
times fast.
8 ways to make others feel appreciated. Dale Carnegie literally wrote the book on how to get others to like you and do what you want. The book is How to Win Friends and Influence People for those of you playing at home. You'll find one of the best parts of this book is the insight into how humans respond to feeling appreciated. You can do it easily every day with these 8 simple approaches. Number 1, I'm proud of you for. That's a quote, of course. Number 2, how'd you do it? Number 3, tell me more. Number 4, social media shout out. It's not a quote, just a suggestion of action. Number 5, don't let them brush off compliments. I suffer from this a lot. Number 6, show genuine interest. Number 7, meaningful gifts. And number 8, give an outstanding introduction. I'm really anxious to dig into this. I love this.
Oh, I was so excited when I saw this article that Julian had put out because I kind of thought, oh, I'm pretty good at making people feel appreciated. And I looked at this list and I thought, you know what? I really could stand to work on a couple of these. So what are kind of your favorites? What do you want to start with?
I mean, I think let's start with how'd you do it, right? Like as a first, okay? Because this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before in listening, okay? The only way to make someone feel appreciated is to listen to them, right? What's also amazing about that is that when you listen, you gain some knowledge, right? So how'd you do it? The person who came before you, I always say, like, people are asking all the time about mentorship, right? Like, how do I find a good mentor?
Right.
How are we?
True,
all
true,
these
true.
things, right? Well, guess what? Just go start asking some questions. Stop asking people to be your mentor, okay? Because if they don't have what you want, then they're not the right person for you. But they'll tell you how they did it because people love to tell their story.
Yep.
That's why journalists have jobs.
Exactly. That's why there's a
I
whole
love-
industry
yeah.
about asking people questions.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you say, too,
It's
that one
true.
of the best ways to find a mentor is whatever your skill set is, go find somebody that could use your skill set and say, hey, can I come do my skill set for you for free? And put out, offer something like that. And guess what? They'll be a lot more willing to want to say, hey,
Yes.
when you say, can you give me some mentorship? They're going to be a lot more willing to do it when you've already given them some value and you've done something for them, not asking for them to help you. You're saying, this is something I can maybe do for you.
Yeah.
Is this a pain point you have that I could take off your back?
Exactly. I love that.
And it kind of comes naturally too once you have built a relationship with somebody, right? Once you've listened to them, then there's a greater sense of, oh, they have an interest in me. I have a vested interest in helping them, or
Exactly.
kind of sharing what I've done.
I have to say that
their
I appreciate the
story.
Dale Carnegie because I don't know about you. I think that book is going to be the most timeless. Like that book, I don't care who you are in 10 generations from now, that book is going to be relevant.
It is, because it's about humans.
Yes.
And nothing about humans is changing.
Absolutely.
Yes, other things are changing around us, technology, and things are
Yeah.
moving at a much faster pace, etc. But humans don't change that much, right? The understanding of humans is very basic.
Talking
Yeah.
about how to win friends and influence
Yes,
people.
exactly.
Yes. Close second, the
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah.
I think jumping into my
Oh, that.
second...
Oh, Jenny.
Jumping into my second favorite one on here is don't let them brush off compliments. Okay?
What do you
Over
mean
here
by
on
that?
the right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean by people, you give a compliment and they say, oh, well, thank you, but really it was so-and-so, right? But you know that it was that person who did that work, who put in the effort, but then they kind of self-deprecate a little bit, or
Yes.
maybe there's a little bit of insecurity there. And if you, as the person who's giving the compliment, can help them stop and say, no, please take this compliment. It's coming from this place. This is the work that you did.
That's interesting.
And you can help build their confidence level because you're listening again.
Yeah, because I've never. That's so true because there has been times that I can think of when people have kind of come back with that second statement there, and that makes a massive difference.
It does.
Yeah,
They stop and they're like, "Oh, no! You don't get off the hook for doing a good job."
Yeah, that's huge.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
I really
we
like
don't
that.
hear that many compliments that often, and it's interesting because I actually have a new employee, and I'm a huge compliment giver.
Yeah.
Because I like to let people know that they have done a good job. It's really important to me because it wasn't ever done for me in the past. And so this girl who works for me, she is lovely, but she hates receiving compliments. And so it really is about like using the strategic compliment to make her feel really good right when she maybe isn't at her best.
Okay, that's good. That's an interesting thing that you're working through then.
Yeah.
With having an employee and learning from what you had or hadn't received
Yes,
in the past.
absolutely.
And now giving it to
Your
her.
former employees teach you how to do it and how to not do it.
And I can connect a lot with this one because I'm this person. Like, I don't like opening gifts in front of people.
You are so this person.
I have the
Zach.
weirdest, like it's the
Thing about
oddest
it.
thing. But you're
Yeah.
right. Like when somebody sticks with it and comes back again and says, "No, real talk. Like really, you killed it and you did a great job." Like it matters. Even though I have anxiety about it, like it matters more. And later when I'm thinking about it, because I'm that kind of person and I think about these things, those are the people that really stick out. Those are the people that like I really want to put in the effort for.
That is the minority. The minority of the people come back with it like that, right? So minority of the compliments are that, so it means more to people.
It does. And I love it that you said you take it away and then you think about it.
Oh, always.
Because the people who don't like these compliments, they are a lot more in their head. Right? And so a little bit more introverted, but it really does mean something in the long run.
Big time. It's huge. Yeah.
Definitely.
I have to tell you, number 4 is one of my favorites on the list, a social media shout out.
Social
I love
media
to give a social
shout-out.
media shout out
Yeah.
for, in
Yes.
fact, I just gave one to Julian.
This is
Thank
that
you.
modern part of the Dipper
The Dipper. We're going to get it.
Diplomat.
We're just going to call it the DD.
That's it.
Okay,
Yes.
kids?
Yeah.
It'll be good. No,
Well,
don't
then
worry.
you're driving us around all weekend.
Exactly.
That's another
Diplomat.
story.
Hey, I'm navigating you through life.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think a social media shout out is so important, and I think it can feel really special to have somebody be recognized in that way.
It really can. And especially when it's a business account, right? Like there's a huge kind of recognition in that. It's another thing that makes people feel really uncomfortable, 100%. Just like receiving these compliments, like that is the ultimate compliment to say something on there. But it really goes a long way. And also in our culture now, it's really important to do.
Yeah, well, because then it's almost like you're complimenting them in front of all the people who
Everyone.
like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a very human thing from any kind of social media brand to be like, hey, this one person matters to us, and like all of you should know that.
You should
like,
really
it's really
pay
cool.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big thing.
Exactly. And I do believe in those being limited, right? Like if you're doing it all the time, then it's a little bit more difficult, right? To know what's important and what's not.
Then it just seems like, they just will post with
With
anybody.
whoever. Exactly. Yeah, totally.
They hang out with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to pivot before we run out of time, just about giving an outstanding introduction.
Oh, yes. Talk about it.
Okay? Because this is the number one way to make people feel really, really incredible. And it's all about introducing them in the most dynamic way possible. Okay?
Okay.
So doing your research about the people that you're going to meet and the people that you know and introducing them really in an incredible way. And you take 3 or 4 facts, let's say, about you, right? And I would introduce you. Hi, this is Jenny, and she is an award-winning journalist, and she does this really amazing podcast, and she has the most beautiful baby, da-da-da-da-da.
I agree.
I like it. Yes, that would make me feel great.
To so-and-so who, if you know the other person and you're making an introduction between 2 people, then you tell some interesting facts about the other person.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can walk away
And then let them.
and you let them do whatever they need to do. Right? This is like networking, like 5.0.
Right.
Okay? Because it's making you, instead of like worrying about your own network, it's totally selfless and you become kind of a connector networker.
Babe, that is me.
Yeah, it is you.
I'm that person.
I'm not being like, oh, I'm awesome, but I never can tell people about myself. But I do love to tell people about other
others.
people.
Yeah, yeah, but it's so true. And so then you kind of connect them, but then they remember who connected them. And then it grows your influence in a totally different way.
But do you know why a lot of people can't do that?
Because they don't listen.
Because they don't listen and they really don't care about people enough to know who it is that they're talking to.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
It is the truth.
And that's the problem with today, because these people that say, well, I can't ever remember names. You just don't care that much.
Yeah, you're not making the effort.
Yeah.
This is like, babe, before we go to a dinner, I'll be Googling like the husband and wife, or reminding myself like, okay, wait, what? They just went on a trip. Let's make sure and ask them about. They went to France or they went to such and such a place, and we were just
actually
doing
take the time to
do it,
so that we know. Okay, and if they're like, because sometimes it's a new friend. I mean, like you just met, and it's like, oh, they have kids. Let's figure out what are their ages of their kids, or what school do they go to, or maybe we know some people they know, or something like that. I don't know. That's
exactly.
sort of
I
like
gotta
a
step
basic.
up my pre-dinner game.
I mean,
it's
I
all
mean, I
about
should.
the
No, yeah,
car.
that's totally.
but it's
that's
on the
way to dinner.
complimentary in the best way.
It's honestly, if you care about knowing others more, they will care about talking about you more.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's just how it is.
It is. And if you can find like that little nugget of commonality, it totally changes the entire situation, right? And the thing too is also about the person being introduced.
Yeah.
And they have to then play the game too, right? I call it the conversation ball, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you have to, I have the ball and I threw it to you with my question, right? And then you answered and then you have to throw it back. Like you can't pop the ball. The popping the ball is
I
like,
like the sports
what's
analogy.
my question,
Yeah.
right? Like what's my question? Da-da-da-da. And the way to pop the ball is yes.
Yes.
And that's it. No follow-up question. No like additional information. Like, could you give me something? Like, if you're gonna pop the ball, I'm out.
Does everybody have a friend like that, or is that just me? 'Cause
No,
I
no,
absolutely
no,
know
everybody
somebody in my
has
head,
a
like,
friend
yeah,
like
they
We
that.
totally
definitely
that.
do. And if you're taking them to an
Yes.
event, you have to take a third friend because
Oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom right now because like I can't handle this.
For those of you out there listening who are thinking, I don't have a friend like that, you're that friend.
You're
that
You're
friend.
that person.
We
You know what?
apologize
You need
right
to
now.
go and read some blogs of it because you need to make sure and not be that friend.
Exactly.
So on the third segment coming up, we're going to get in to know you a little bit more and how you got here and how you ended up writing all this great content. We'll be back in a minute on the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Heath and Jenny still to come.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
he went to the Washington School of Protocol, and now he is here with us. Julian Leaver, I'm learning some fun facts about you, and I'm almost,
Yes.
after that lesson about introductions, I'm going back and thinking, I hope that my introduction...
We did not do a good job of
I hope
introducing
that
him.
my introduction at the beginning was good, because I don't know that I fully... I mean, you have so much to your resume and to your background. So, you guys, when I first met him, he was working at The Mansion. If you're in Dallas, you know what I'm talking about. But this is, to me, one of the places that really is the spot for formal affairs, for when you really want to dress up and look nice. So talk about that experience there and sort of, how that all came to this business.
Yeah, so I actually started out wanting to be a diplomat. So I got my degree in international studies, and I always wanted to go be in the State Department. And then I needed to kind of put myself through college, actually. And so I planned parties. And so I started with sorority parties, is kind of how my story started. And then that kind of evolved into weddings and all kinds of, it was just like one thing after another. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Sororities.
fact about you.
It's the best referral source
Oh, for
in
sure.
America.
I bet you it is,
Okay?
yes.
My brother was a DJ at sorority parties
It's
and had
great.
a booming business.
Oh, it's amazing. I had a
Yes.
huge business. I had a
Yes.
friend that I made a DJ. I had another friend that I made a security guy. I had another friend who was the bartender. I had a little mini empire.
Yes, you did
okay? It
have
was
an
great.
empire, you diplomat, you.
It was great. Yes. So then I really did end up realizing that what I wanted to do was in hospitality. And so if you're going to do it, just do it the best way. Right. So I went and I sought out Rosewood Hotels and Resorts, and I worked for them for quite a number of years, kind of on and off in different roles. But that's really where I learned about five-star service and how to treat someone in the proper way. And they actually take the time to teach you how to do all of those things. And so that's kind of how this all started. And then I decided to formalize that training and go to the Washington School of Protocol.
Now, let me ask you this, Julian, on that real quick. Did you, in the hospitality stuff, were you somebody always able to be poised when maybe somebody's attacking you angrily or somebody's emotional? Were you always able to be poised to reply, or did something like that teach you? Because I can only imagine that you have to be good at that, doing that, because you're going to have people get mad all the time thinking and you can't get upset. Mm-hmm. Were you already like that, or did you learn that?
I was already like that because I had learned that actually from the sorority parties.
Okay. That makes total sense.
Because there's like really crazy behavior.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
right? Like we've all been there in college, and it's really crazy, and you're having to deal with kind of irate people who've had maybe a little too much to drink.
Yeah.
And so it gave me really good experience for doing that. I also come from a pretty large family. So there were 7 of us, and my grandfather when we were growing up. And so it's kind of rambunctious and a little crazy, and I've always been a little bit more in my head. And so I think that definitely came across, and I was able to channel that in hospitality even more so.
So you were well suited for this career.
Yeah,
From the
it's-
get-go, from a natural
I
perspective.
didn't realize that I was, but looking back now, yes.
It sounds like you were.
Yeah.
Heath's wondering if he can get some of those coping techniques.
Pause, my friend. Pause and walk away.
the pause is good. I would like to hear more about the school that you went to.
Yes.
How did you find out about it? What did you learn? What was it about?
So I have always obviously been interested in etiquette and protocol. And so I did a lot of research, and this school kind of is the standout school in the United States. They help teach the State Department. They teach some staff at the White House. They teach a lot of people with the Pentagon and then major corporations as well. And so I went to Washington, D.C., and we went through a whole, I think it was a 7-day course. And then you're certified at the end of that process. And then you can obviously continue on with additional certifications. But
Oh, wow.
what was interesting to me about that process was I learned that the U.S. military actually is kind of the originator of protocol and etiquette, because the militaries interacting with other militaries needed some kind of system so that everybody knew how to do everything in the same way. And so that is really where it originated. And so pretty much every general in the U.S. military has a protocol office. And so depending on how high they are in the rank, they have a larger office or a smaller office to deal with where the flags go and how everyone should stand and who should stand where and what's the protocol of entrance. So it's a lot of really interesting things that we don't think about, because protocol really is about,
You don't think about it till it's broken.
you don't think about it till it's broken or
Till
till
pr-
something doesn't feel right.
Till somebody doesn't put that flag at half staff when it should be, then it's everywhere.
Exactly. Or like in my class there, the protocol officer for Boeing was there. And that's really important for Boeing, because when they're selling a plane to another country and they hang the flag upside down, there's a problem. Like, are you going to sell any more airplanes to them? No. So it's a very interesting thing that we don't think about, but does exist all around us all the time.
I think that example is really important for people who think that things like following a protocol or certain manners are outdated and fussy and I don't know if fussy's the word, but there's so sort of
Like
like
matronly.
oh no, yeah, matronly, or like no, I'm just relaxed, but I think there's a difference, or perhaps you can be both relaxed and cool and follow protocol and make people feel comfortable.
And there's a very big difference, right? Like the protocol is something that never changes. Okay? It's not flexible. Every single time you do it this same way.
Yeah.
Etiquette changes in each situation. Right? So like let's take a wedding, for example, right? Like in every wedding ceremony in pretty much every culture, it follows the same pattern, right? Like the bride walks down the aisle or the groom walks down the aisle. They get married, they walk back up the aisle, and then there's a bunch of things that kind of happen in between, right?
Right.
But the protocol of all of that is never changed.
Okay.
Right? But the etiquette of it for each culture or religion or wherever you may be changes.
See, I never would have thought about those being different. I mean, I'm from East Texas.
Because
etiquette, protocol.
Hey,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
good.
I'm not very good at
Well,
it.
but
Those
there
are long
are
words.
things. But there are certain things. For example, he's from the South. I'm not. I'm from Idaho. My parents are from California. So that's a different mix of different mixture compared to him being
from the South.
From the South. And there are certain things that he does or that his family does that I'm sure I don't naturally do. And I think, oh, well, I need to get on board with that, and vice versa. And it's not necessarily meaning that we don't want to follow protocol or don't have
Just not
manners
aware.
or etiquette. We're just not
Not
aware
aware.
of that's the way that things go there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it gets,
No, it's very fascinating,
it
isn't
gets
it?
interesting. Yes. Yes. So what's your recommendation to somebody who is listening to this and thinking, oh, I don't know a lot of these things.
Well, I mean, obviously, first of all,
Hire
please go to
you.
my website
Right.
and take a look at the blog because it's all about, I'm really just trying to push out content that allows you to have an approachable, easy way to change something really quick in your life, right? Like you're not sitting down for a course that's 5 hours long, right?
Yeah.
Like you just need to read this article, and if you take one thing away from it and you start practicing it in your life, you're doing better than you were yesterday.
But that's what I love about your articles. They're not. You don't have to dedicate a whole day to read an article.
No.
Okay. It is good, and he gets to the point, and he gives you the practical thing real quick. It's not this like super thing going to take you 2 hours to do.
No belabored points here.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Since you know all of the protocols and all of the etiquette points, does it ever get frustrating living in a world where other people aren't reciprocating that, or when you walk into a meeting and there's certain things where it should be this way but it's not?
I definitely used to be, for sure.
Okay.
Like, I think working in hotels even made me more so that way because, like, everything in hotels is very structured and very, like, this is how it is and this is the way we do it. And why do we do it this way? Because we've done it this way forever.
Yeah.
You know? No change. But now it's a lot more freeing. I don't really love to tell people at dinner, in the middle of dinner, that I'm an etiquette or protocol expert.
Oh, because they're all
Because
getting,
then it just bejangles the hell out of people.
Totally.
But all my friends do know that about me, and then they're a little nervous sometimes. And I'm like, look, it's an etiquette-free zone. Like, I am not going to judge you. But if you have a question about your fork, I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
like
really
that.
nice, Julian, and that's why you still have friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why you're still my friend.
If a certain person, it's like going out to dinner with your, a dietitian or something like that.
It's
And you're
like,
like, oh,
maybe you shouldn't be eating that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to dinner with that person again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
You
I really
know?
like that, but I also want to open the door that if we ever do anything and you're like, whoa, Jenny and Heath, like you guys are way off base with this. Since we're friends, tell
Don't
us.
worry. I'll let you know. But just
Okay.
not in the middle of the meal.
Yes.
Now, I want to say something real quick because you actually triggered something in my mind when you mentioned the mansion.
Yes.
Which when my wife and I got married, we weren't able to take an actual honeymoon, so we just spent a couple of nights at the mansion. Like that was our kind of quasi honeymoon at that time, and it actually was a very stark lesson in hospitality in that every single person that was there knew me, knew my wife, knew why we were there, knew that we had just gotten married, like said hello to us. Everybody addressed me by name. And I think prior to that, I thought about etiquette and hospitality and just being personable as something that you were either born with or you weren't. Like you were either good at it or you weren't. And when I look back at that experience, I think all of that took a lot of work.
It does.
Like they all had to learn who we were, and they had to learn my face, and they had to learn my wife's face, and they had to learn about us. It wasn't something that they were just born with.
Yeah.
It was something that they had to work at. And so I think like a lesson for everybody listening now is like, if all this stuff sounds hard,
It's just something that takes time.
It takes
right?
time, and
but you
like,
can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, because they could do it.
Exactly, and they do it every day, right?
Right.
Like
That's a
I always say,
culture.
like
That's a culture.
Repetition strengthens and confirms, right? Like if you do it again and again and again and again, then it's ingrained in the culture. And there's like 10 different meetings to get you to that place. You know, like
Right.
they went over your name like at 10 different meetings before you even arrived. And there's all these notes. And so I think hotels is a great place that we kind of expect service like that. But what's interesting, I think, is that other industries have really been embracing this kind of level of service. Take airlines, for example. Have been really working hard to
Yes,
kind of
they need
elevate
to.
their experience. I mean, they do. They really do.
It's true.
We're all in there. We're crammed in, right?
Yes.
But it's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than people think.
And I think it's interesting to think about your business. So you talked about, okay, they had 10 meetings, you know, to learn the names and things like that. How much of a standout could your business be if you started making it the goal to know people's names?
Exactly.
Holy cow. I mean, it makes a huge difference. Bar Method is one fitness studio that I go to, and I've gone back, like, why do I love it? I think it could be because they know my name when I walk in.
Yes. And you feel like
You
there's
know,
a sense of
yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, oh my God, I felt special here. I'm going to go back. So, yeah.
Well,
it's very interesting.
What can our listeners do to help support you? What are things that you are offering that you do that our listeners could help support you on?
Yeah, I mean, I think please obviously go and read the blog. And then you can sign up for the newsletter. Also, I push all the content on social media at Dapper Diplomat on Instagram. And then there's also some free downloads. So there's lots and lots of information. Online courses are about to come.
Okay.
So
great.
Yeah, that's kind of the next thing. So you can learn at home in your pajamas how to hold your fork properly.
And that's all on your website.
It is all on my website at dapperdiplomat.com.
Okay, and they can find you on all the social medias where you'll be handing out free tips and stuff as well, I guess?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So it kind of just breaks everything down and digs into all of the blogs a little bit more.
You are awesome. Julian, thank you for coming in.
You're so welcome. Thank
And
you,
Next
guys.
time I'm going to have a really on-point introduction for you.
Oh, I appreciate
I feel like
it.
I was all over the place because there's so many things I love about him, but next time it's going to be very specific.
Okay, well,
I've
thank you.
thoroughly enjoyed it as well. I think these are type of things that are very good for people to use in their business and personal lives. Some of the, maybe you're not somebody that is doing stuff with the diplomats anywhere, right? But it's like the simple things of working on learning people's names, working on the introductions. For instance, I think are very simple things that could help people in this world in a big, big way.
Exactly. Just listening.
Absolutely. So where can they find you at, Jenny?
JennyAnchondo.com, on Instagram, Jenny Anchondo. Same thing with Facebook, and Twitter is Jenny Anchondo TV. And the Second Shot podcast has an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Yes.
Check it out. We have our 90-year-old listener featured
Joyce.
on there right now.
Yeah.
Joyce is out
Yay.
there.
Joyce
Yes.
is great.
Oh, Joyce.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
Okay, yes. At Apple Zackintosh on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/group/second shot. Join the conversation. Join the show. Share it on Facebook. We love you. Thanks for listening.
You can find me at Matt Stoker1 on Instagram. Give me that social media shout out, everybody. Go check
Yeah.
out pictures of my puppy. It's great. It's a lovely Instagram to follow if you like.
I hope you all guys go to his blog and go to the Dapper Diplomat. Look it up. Follow him. This is going to be some good stuff I think everybody needs to learn. Ed Heath, Ignorance on Fire, as always, on all of the Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, as my wife likes to laugh about. But
LinkedIn.
I love y'all. See y'all next time.